Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nakama podcast. It's me, Sal. No Peralta, but we do got Houston. So
There's a
yeah,
win.
yeah,
Take the win.
you're like the fifth member of the little crew because I think before we
Fifth,
got
only the
to
fifth. God damn, who do I got to kill to be like at least fourth?
Cruz, Peralta, or Lynn.
Well, Cruz did screw me over. Although I loved Korean barbecue, but he did make me like a permanent enemy. It's I wanted to go to the panel.
Yeah, in that order, Cruz is after me, obviously, and then Peralta's after Cruz,
Yeah,
and Lynn is
the found one of the two founders.
yeah. But we're gonna be talking about Fanime. We are recording Sunday. Not CJ. Houston just got home. I got home technically today, but like around 1 in the morning. We might be joined by a third person. So if we just automatically get a third, we weren't expecting it. We sent out the link, and but we're starting because we both got shit to do. Not really, but I rather record this that way I can
Shit
start
to do. I got
editing.
tons of shit.
I don't. I got a new promotion, so now I don't even have to clean after you guys anymore.
Lucky you.
Yeah, now I get to walk around and tell kids to get out of the bathroom.
Live the
Yeah,
dream.
but I'll save that. I think I might record something with Peralta later on. But we're here to talk about Fanime. I really wish Diego was here because neither you or Cruz were there Friday, but I was. Diego was there. He was there. Um,
Living the
Friday,
dream.
it went pretty well. I got there maybe like around 9ish, and right off the bat, no lines. Was able to get in. Didn't have to worry about any of that shit that you did. So that was pretty cool. I didn't know that there was like a day zero, like Thursday. You could have gone to pick up your badge and all of that if you got the weekend.
Wow. I mean, I guess I could have gone, but it sucked to just drive all the way there and then have to come back for work unless I probably next time I need to wisely like just reserve that Friday off and just say, you know what, that's a 4 day week for me.
Yeah, for
That my
reals.
birthday. Those are the two things, Fanime and my birthday. That's what I'm going to reserve days off for.
So, other things that happened on Friday, I was able to take a bunch of pictures. I found out that there is a limit to how many people you can tag on Instagram because I hit that limit. Like, I got a little message
Yeah,
being like,
wreck you.
hey, yeah, it was like, hey, we don't know if you're spamming, so we're gonna stop you from tagging people. You can still upload and you can still tag them, but it won't send them the notification that they got tagged. And then if you click the little picture, it wouldn't bring up the profile. So that kind of sucked. But other than that, Friday was cool. I ran across some of the people that I was supposed to meet up with. I was trying to look for others, and I felt like a creep. And it's like, yeah, I couldn't make it as a stalker because it's taking too much energy to track down someone from the picture. Okay, this was 5 minutes ago. This is this general area. Maybe if I walk fast enough, maybe I might be able to, see them from a
Tag him
distance.
again.
Yeah, I was just like, I couldn't do it. I can't be a killer. That'd take too much energy for me. I'd be like giving myself away, being like, "Yo, just get over here so I can just end it."
At best, I could be Better Call Saul. Like I could be Saul Goodman. I could be the lawyer for the killer, but I don't know if I could be the killer myself.
Yeah. But other than that, we went to me, Diego, Evie. I'm sorry, friend, but you met him on Saturday. We went to go get Chinese food from a place called, was it Food Home? Home Food?
Home food, yes.
It's in San Jose. I was
By the
pretty
way, this is a plug. They're actually paying us to say this.
Yeah, I was kind of wary of them because it's like, oh, it's Chinese food. I wanted hot pot. That was the plan. So when he's like, oh, you can have your own personal hot pot, I was like, yeah, I guess I'll try it. We walked the long way to get there, so it took us like 20 minutes. You and Cruz were complaining when we walked. I think it took us 10.
Didn't feel like 10.
What's it called? The food was good. The service was all right. Evie got her food last, like dead ass last, like holy shit, did they forget? But other than that, Friday was pretty good. If you follow the Instagram, you kind of saw what my day was like just for the fact that I kept taking pictures, posting them. There was a few of them that I didn't post because either the person didn't want me to tag them or I forgot to ask. And then there was other ones that I just took for myself. But Friday, if you were following, you pretty much saw how my day went. I left around 9, and I think I got home around 9. I know my girlfriend was surprised when I got home around 9:30ish because thought that I was gonna get here late because I did tell her like, oh, Friday and Saturday, don't expect me to be home until like 1 or 2 in the morning. But I know for you, you had work, unfortunately.
Yeah, tragic.
Yeah, so moving on to the main day, Saturday. We had panels, me and you showed up. Yeah, you popped up a little bit.
In the chat, can we get an F in the chat there?
She heard that, Houston.
Hi.
Did you hear her?
Yes, I did, 100%.
What was I saying? So, Saturday, the main
Hey,
day.
that's the show.
Yeah, me and you met up roughly around the same time. We had a weird connection Saturday because I called you, and not even 2 minutes later, we saw each other in the parking lot, and I was like, okay, weird coincidence. And then throughout the day, it kind of happened where we would lose sight of each other, and then we kind of just looked in the same direction, and boom, you were there. I was there.
I just have the power to summon you, as needed, you appear.
Yeah. So we met up on Saturday. You had to wait in line, unfortunately, but it wasn't
Yeah.
that bad.
Nah, I've experienced way worse.
Yeah, I know the one time Brittany went with me, like we were going up and down, trying to get our badges and everything. But you got yours pretty quick. I know after we went through the metal detector, I lost you because I went upstairs and like let me get some B footage because I walked almost all the way to the end where people were lining up to get their badges. I didn't see you at that point. Then I went upstairs to try to see like catch the flow of fish, but by the time I got upstairs, it like wasn't that super crazy. So I was like, oh, I missed my chance there. But other than that, the morning went pretty well. I know I hit up Evie telling her like, hey, it's at 10:30. Me and you got there around 9ish. So I was like, it's gonna get started soon. And she's like, oh, I'll be there. We're gonna go get breakfast. Long story short, she did not make it to the panel. It would have been cool if she did because I know she did have stuff to say for a condition called love, and I think that's it. I think that's what she mostly was going to bring to the table was
Which would have been
more.
good because that's the one that I knew like the least about. That was the one where I was like, God, I'm really hoping you guys are going to carry that one because I barely watched that one.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just jump to the panel. So I kind of figured you might not have watched it. I'm not too sure how much Cruz actually watched of it. I brought it up to his attention. He said he was, but Cruz is Cruz, and I'll leave it at that. But I thought the first panel went okay without Lynn being there. Now I'm not trying to like, gas her up, be a but in the past she has helped us out a lot by making those long awkward silences not as long and awkward. And I think for the first panel we did well without her. I think for the most part we were prepared. I know you did all the slides even though Cruz kind of made it seem like you guys were working together.
I mean, he supplied a lot of good notes that I riffed off of and either condensed or summarized because I assumed he was probably going to use some of that content in presentation. I did visually put it all together and then change some of the text to fit on a slide.
Hmm. And I know that is something that Brittany has been very vocal about with me about, yeah, either you do it or stop complaining because Cruz is never going to do it. And it's however you go about it since you're the one who's been putting them together. And I know I've reached out to both of you, but at the same time, I also wasn't as persistent about like, hey, Houston, this is what we're going to say. This is what we're going to do. But other than that, I thought the first panel, for the most part, went well. It was recorded. It was on a live. I need to pull the video. I don't know how good the quality is since as soon as we ended the panel, I kind of stopped it and just forgot about it until the end of the night, basically.
Yeah, I have no idea if TikTok lives are saved anywhere or any way to get access to that. I think that's just into the series of tubes or whatever.
Yeah. But did you have any thoughts about the first panel?
I think the first panel actually went super well. The only downside is that beyond Nagatoro and Call of the Night, although Nagatoro I know way more about because I have like the manga series and have watched the anime. I know a little bit less about those other ones, so it's kind of like, Cruz, you're gonna have to carry this a little bit. I loved Call of the Night. It's really chill, really nice. But I just know way more about like Nagatoro. I've read the manga series the whole way through, and I've watched the anime, eagerly awaiting further episodes. It was a pretty good panel. We didn't have nearly as much questions or like interaction from the
Mhm.
audience. Part of that might have been that, if we had some, probably a female perspective would have helped us just a little bit carrying that one. I think
Yeah,
people are biased when they think romance. They want to hear a woman's perspective. They don't want to hear ours.
yeah, I thought so too. But I know we were able to do what we were able to do. One of the other things that I did notice too is it was 10:30 in the morning, so not everyone either woke up early enough to go, or two, they were already like making their way to.
True. I think both panels it was bad time. It was a little bit of a bad timing because 10:30 is way too freaking early for some people. Or they're in the dealer's hall for the first time. It finally
Um,
opens. They're all rushing in there or artist alley. I'm not certain what's a good time for a panel. I'd say by like 12 or 1, people have shopped, to their heart's content, and they might want to break or just to sit down somewhere. That's why I think those are the strongest. Or the super late at night, but then again, unless you're one specific panel, you got a lot of competition.
yeah, you do. But yeah, I thought the first one went well. Hopefully, we will add more stuff to it because we're going to be using it again for GalaxyCon. Because I kind of told Cruz instead of keep making new panels every year or like for every convention, we should just recycle all of them for the same year. So
We
next anime we'll do different ones.
should use the Berserk Light one though, just because we didn't get to use it, and I'm kind of proud of the meme quality of that one. I don't know if you saw my beloved Family Guy Berserk cross. Look
Uh,
that shit up, load it up.
I will do it after this because I don't know what's
Okay.
gonna stop it. But forget GalaxyCon is the next one we're planning on going to, or at least the one that I plan on being physically there. I'm not sure if Brittany's gonna go with me or not, but I'll at least be there for a day. I know I might not get that Friday again because I'll still be on probation and I don't want to miss too much work right off the bat.
Thank you for saying work. You gotta front load that this is related to work. When people hear probation, they think something else.
Yeah, yeah. So I might not be there for the opening ceremony, but Saturday for sure. Sunday, it just depends if we got multiple panels. But yeah, we're gonna be reusing these three for GalaxyCon. I know Anime Impulse hit us up super last minute last year, and they're like, "Yo, here's the tickets. Show up."
Where is that one?
Oof. I think it's a little bit past San Jose. I think it's
Like
I forget.
Cupertino or
Maybe it's close to San Jose. I think it's like 20 minutes away from it. I know Evie and Diego went to it last year. They were the ones that got the footage there, and they're the ones that interviewed none like Joshua and one of Evie's friends, like Chick Berea, something like that. But I think that happens around the same time as GalaxyCon, or either a little bit before or after. And I know last year they just hit us up like super, super last minute where I was just like, well, I can't miss work and a cruise is cruise, so none of us were able to go. But Evie was able to go for us. So after the first panel, we started doing interviews, which I've barely started editing some of them. There was one that me and Diego did Friday because we started it Friday. I should have asked you if during the interviews should have asked like specific questions. We tried doing it on Friday where Diego suggested having people shake my hand in character. And I told him, I was like, I kind of don't want to do that, bro. And he's like, why? It's hella cool. He pulls up a whole video where a girl does it, and it's like, one, I'm not pretty to look at, and two, I don't think I'm as charismatic as this girl. So me doing it, I feel it's gonna feel kind of weird, and you kind of have to get people who are super into their character to be able to also pull that off. Because I can
You
ask
have
you,
to be a certain level of high energy to do that. Like you got to have a certain kind of personality. It doesn't work for everyone.
yeah, I don't think I had it. So we tried it out. It went well-ish. Like it was a little awkward for Diego doing it. It was kind of it was super awkward for me doing it. I still went with it, and we quickly dropped that on Friday. And Saturday you did a couple of interviews. Cruz did a couple of them. We did kind of I did have to kind of force him into it, and then I did some more. Going to these conventions is always the hard part for me because pictures super easy. Hey, can I take your picture? Cool.
Yeah.
Boom. He got a handle. Cool. Boom. Like I don't know how to balance a good between video and photos because I rather do the pictures, but then at the same time it's kind of like, well, you get more of the person with the videos,
Video
obviously.
video requires a certain kind of like a level of extroverted personality. I mean, so does doing the panels. Like, that what's the best way to put this? Have you ever been in a panel and you just knew the person was super awkward in front of a crowd? Like they're not used to public speaking. This is one reason why I do think like people should have to learn. Okay, this is one of the upsides of learning to present in front of the class, basically, is you get used to having to talk to a bunch of strangers and try to get them to like a topic, whatever it is. Thankfully, my entire job is trying to jazz people on a topic and being a quasi showbiz almost role. How to get people hyped for a topic that probably isn't as interesting as I'm trying to make it sound. Only isn't. Pictures obviously are great. What was it last con? Just walking around with a camera and like a professional camera, not like a cell phone, but like a professional camera. Everyone's just like, oh yeah, sure. You can take a million pictures, and people are like, yeah, sure. I almost kind of want to do that at some point. That's such a good angle.
So last year, I had a friend. Her dad took a fuck ton of pictures. I'm super grateful that he was able to do that because I wasn't able to do it because I was focusing on the video aspect of it. This dude took like within a day and a half, maybe like 80 gigs worth of pictures, and that was a hassle to
Holy
sort
shit.
through all of
That's
them.
a lot.
Yeah. So this year, someone at your school was cool enough. Tim Brown, definitely gonna mention somewhere in here. He let us borrow a camera,
Absolute Giga
and
Chad.
yeah, he did it even after having like a medical thing. But anyways, I could not figure out how to use this camera. So when I came across Diego and Evie, Diego I think went to school for that. So I was like, "Yo, can you figure this out?" He he tried a little bit. And he's like, I don't know what's wrong with it." Evie took maybe like 10 minutes to figure it out. The pictures she took actually came out really good. But on Saturday, I was like, "I got a job for you, Cruz," and he's like, "What?" Handed him the camera. I was like, "Go take pictures." So I know he was there for a bit for the Nikkei gathering because I fucked off and went to find my
Yeah,
phone.
your stand.
I've left it behind because I got distracted with Evie's friend being like, "Oh yeah, they didn't show up because of blah blah blah," and I was like, you know, distracted with that. Fortunately, no one took it, so that was cool. And then I went to go do the Monster Hunter one, and I have not looked to see what Cruz took pictures of, but I have a feeling it's not going to be as many as I thought, and a lot less than he
Mm.
probably thinks as well. But recording is always fun. Weirdly enough, um, I like talking to people, but I like talking to people in small groups. So when we do the panels, like part of me also hates it because it's like, ah, god damn it, I don't want to talk to all of you guys because I don't know if you noticed, but if I have an idea of what the panel should be, I kind of want to stick to that. So the fact that when I was
I go
like,
off-roading, I'm sorry.
yeah, when I was asking you guys, like, so which animes are we going to go over in what order? That way I can tell Evie about it too. And then also we're not jumping around and you and Cruz just kind of were like, yeah, okay. And it's like, I'm not getting any feedback. So when we did the second panel, that's why I was trying to go through it because it's like I want to get all the points from Goblin Slayer done first, and then we can go
Yeah.
to the other, and then the other. But that never works out. But it is also on me because instead of relying on you, I should just stop being lazy and do it myself. Like put it together and be like, "Here, Houston, here's what I got. We can mash these together."
I mean, with the other panel, it's just I felt like discursive trips into D&D helped because I just figured a lot of the audience was going to play D&D, and once I saw a bunch of hands go up, I was like, okay, if we need content filler, I know a lot about Dungeons and Dragons, obviously.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about the second panel, I thought the second panel went well.
Yeah.
That was the one that I just suggested. So that was also one where I was trying to be the spearhead for it, but again, uh, you and Cruz were just like blah 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 blah, and then I was like, all right, well, I kind of got my points across, and now these guys are talking about racist elves, and I was like, I do hate
That is a
elves.
lot of elves. Look, I've played so many games where elves are, for some reason, racist. I mean, admittedly, they are better than everybody. They live forever and are just naturally beautiful, so I guess they are just better.
Yeah. What? Side note, we were talking about Oblivion earlier. So Brittany got heavily into playing Oblivion, and she made a wood elf, and she made a comment to me being like, "Why does everyone hate me?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, wood elves in Oblivion are like considered savages," and she's like, "What?" And it's like, "Yeah, your wood elves are just like basically hillbillies, but both instead of guns, they got bows." And she's like, "Why didn't you tell me that?" And I was like, "I didn't remember that was a thing." So every time she interacts with people, they're always just super hostile towards her for whatever reason, and then she does the little mini game, and then they all start
Yeah.
liking her. But yeah, she didn't know that wood
Play
elves.
that Dunmer. Gotta play that Dunmer. That's the way to go.
hmm But yeah, going back to the second panel, yeah, I thought the second panel was a lot better than the first one, and I think that could be just for the fact that we were already we did one, so there was no way we could do worse than that one. And then I think this was a subject that
Do not jinx it. You could always do worse.
And I think this was a subject the three of us, even if we don't, are on the same page. We cover the field enough where if someone threw a question, one of us could catch it. I know the only person who was up there kind of awkwardly was Evie. I don't. She was being supportive, so I got to give her props for that. She sat there, and it is hard to sit in front of a crowd and just be hanging out.
Yeah. Although, God, if only she'd done that ring comment she had during the panel, that would have been killer. But oh
Yeah,
well. I know that was like, what the? Where was that during the panel? You said you could have just lied and pretended you see the whole thing. Nobody would have called you on it. We had that guy to go over the entire plot of Freerend for us, but it's like, dude, everyone except for Evie here knows, man.
Yeah, but I thought the second one did well. I did like how small the room is. I hate when they put us in the really, really big room. I think that there's only been once or twice that we actually filled that big room. And I think both times Brittany was there, or at least for sure once she was there. Because I remember being
Wasn't
like,
it
oh, there was.
the Isekai one? That had a pretty big crowd. That was a lot of people at the Isekai one. That was the one
Yeah,
where I had all the slides, and then there was one that was pretty full, but we had no slides, or we had no way to get the slides, I want to
I
say.
want to say it was the first time we did the modern romance one.
Right, yeah.
I think that one because I remember pointing it. I remember saying like, "Yeah, there wasn't that many people," and Brittany was like, "No, there was a lot of people," and I was like, "It didn't look like." And she's like, "The room was big, and everyone was kind of separated, so it didn't look like it. But if we asked them all to like fill in the seats in the front, we would have like filled up a lot of them." And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't think it was that many people."
Yeah, well, the second room, it wasn't super packed, but they were all super into the topic, or they were into D&D.
Mm-hmm. Which I wonder how many of them wanted us to talk more about Goblin Slayer than just because when I asked the question, "How many of you watched Goblin Slayer?" almost everyone's hands was up.
Yeah. It's been a while since I watched, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little rusty on the specifics. Then again, I play D&D, so to me, it's just like, it's an anime about a thing I already do.
Yeah, I've been getting Brittany to watch it. I think we were done with the first season or half of the first season, but I read the manga up to I think past where the anime was or
Okay.
is. So that's why I was like, all right, I already know what to do, or I already know what we can talk about. But yeah, other than that, Fanime for 2025 was good, even though Brittany wasn't there. So that was kind of a bummer for me because even though she hates going to those, I like the fact that Brittany's there because
Ah, it's like the highlight of the year for. Well, then again, I put up with like basically, educational babysitting.
no, Brittany does not like large crowds of people because one, people are gross, and two, people get really sick. Because when we were watching bad hentai, that's why I wasn't really into it because the dickhead in front of us,
Yeah,
getting you to
yeah, that
calm down, which was yeah, it was so weird. It's like, bro, you're watching hentai with a bunch of people. But like, why is your comments the issue, not the fact that you're in a room watching a girl get fucked by a ghost?
with their weird discolored genitalia.
Yeah, and then the girl next to me coughing up a storm, and it's like, dude, like, what are you doing here? Like, one, put on a mask and then just leave, or just sit in the
Yeah.
back, like something. Like, come on, bro. So I wasn't having it, but
Admittedly, it had been years since I went to the to that specific panel, so I was kind of like, well, I have vague memories of this from like, God, when was the last time I went to anything like that? It was 2014, anime 2014.
that was my first time ever going to it. I remember me and Brittany would joke about it, but this year was the first year that I stayed super late. And doing it once, I'm glad Brittany wasn't there because she would have hated it and would have been really, really tired. But no, Fanime is not really her thing. She likes going, but she just likes going to the dealer's hall, getting her shit, and then leaving.
Yeah.
She really was a fan of Crunchyroll, which I was a big fan too because there was more stuff like industry stuff that you can do. Like we're gonna go watch the new anime that's gonna be coming out, or here's the voice actors talking about
When
this, or here's the art director, bro, doing that.
when and where is that? Is that
So
every year?
no, they canceled it. I think 2 years ago.
Damn. Well, I missed the boat.
Yeah, the only reason Brittany was at Fanime last year is because her phone broke and I wasn't gonna leave her in San Jose for like over 6 hours. I think it was something like that while she was waiting for her phone. So that's why I was like, no, you're not gonna sit in your car and boil and be bored. I'll just bring you to Fanime. So that's why Brittany was there last year. But no, she likes the structure for Crunchyroll, which I understand because I like it too.
Yeah.
But staying late for PartCon, everyone was really, really hyping it up, and I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
that is not my ideal setting. I don't like loud people, which I chose a really bad profession to be in right now. I don't like drunk people, and then I don't like dumb drunk people. So the combination of the three is kind of like I was very annoyed.
Outside, loud, like, oh man, I hate to sound lame, but it is true. I mean, with age, you just stop liking shit like that.
Hmm.
Probably if it was 2014, 2014 me loved it. But 2014 me, different guy. That was pre-COVID. That's the before time. That's a different guy.
Yeah.
Um, that guy's not far removed from, going and performing in like shitty punk rock concerts. So there was almost a part of me that when that band just appeared out of nowhere, primal ancient memories unlocked in me. I'm like, do I have a leather jacket on? Should I go in the pits? If I didn't have this backpack and I had someone to hold the glasses, I probably would have and regretted it. Because there was just a part of me that instinctually, like, I was like, I must go in the pit. I remember the elder ways. My elder ways are coming back.
Yeah, same. Except for like I didn't have the urge as much because again, I also have a backpack and it's like I am like 200 pounds heavier than I was when I was into that. And two, if I fall, I don't know. I don't know if they were gonna stop. But I might have just just would have woken up dead.
In the chat. I would have live streamed it though. I would have been like, an F in the, can we get an F in the chat for Sal? Chat, get F in the chat for Sal.
Hmm. But
I just moved up a rank in the Nakama podcast hierarchy. He is now
yeah,
dead. Let me close those eyes for him. He will be, RIP.
Yeah. But I
I
mean,
would
at
play
least
that sad violin, you know, the Major League Gaming sad violin, MP3, low quality.
Cruz would have walked like sad George Michael from Arrested Development, and he's like, "Now I'm
Yeah,
the host. Now I got to take responsibility."
shit.
Yeah, it wasn't my thing. I'm glad I finally went to it so I can be like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that again. If next Fanime, if I stay late, I think I'm just gonna try to, like you mentioned, off mic, get together and do a board game. All of us play Catan, all of us play Gloomhaven. Something that doesn't involve loud, dumb, drunk people.
Yeah, that loses its appeal after a while.
Yeah. Also, wherever we were standing, it smelled like dog poop. So I kept looking at my shoes to make sure I didn't step in dog poop. And I mentioned it to you. I saw you check your shoes. I thought Evie was covering her nose because she smelt it, but I guess it wasn't until I pointed it out that I was like, yo, it smells like dog shit. That she
Well,
was like,
that and
yeah,
nicotine and everything else that was being consumed, and then there was that one guy who knows what's going on with that guy. He was keeled
yeah,
over on the
drunk.
ground with people rubbing his back.
Yeah, so Saturday ended kind of cool, not really. But I will say this Fanime was good, you know. I think the biggest downside to all of it was there was no wieners. There was no hot dogs. All the vendors were
Yeah,
gone.
the hot dog gone. Unlike last year, there was a whole line of if you needed food and you needed it now, there was always something if
Mm,
you were willing to risk what it might do to your intestinal tract. You know, if you didn't care about the health and standards, go for it, which, you know,
yeah,
you rarely do when you're that hungry.
yeah.
Now it was the return of the protesters,
Mhm.
you know, get right with God people were back. I hadn't seen them in a fortnight. I thought, yeah, Fortnite, there you go, kids. Get your V-Bucks. You love it. I know what the young ones like. They like that Fortnite game. Hatsune Miku's in it, I hear. Um,
She was. If you missed
what
out,
they take them out? I don't play Fortnite, kids. I'm gonna admit right
yeah,
now.
yeah, she was like a event thing.
When are they gonna bring Toho characters? They need the Tohos.
Bro, somehow they did a Sanderson collab for Mistborn. One of our coworker or one of your coworkers, Jesus brought it up, and I thought he was bullshitting me. And then we looked it up, and no, sure enough, there was Kelsier from Mistborn, a Sanderson collab in Fortnite. If I could buy that, I would drop $30 to buy that skin.
Live the dream.
Right?
Damn. But yeah, the protesters telling you you're going to go to hell for watching anime. We're back. I hadn't seen again, not since 2014 or not since the best time ever was years. I think even before 2014, there was a time when this is when panty and stocking was really popular. There was a mob of them. It wasn't just two. This time it was only two. But back then there would be like 12, 13. They'd have a whole big poster thing covering this, you know, huge right there in the front where that bus stop is now. And I just remember them saying, "It's sin, anime is sin," and the other crowd is sort of, you know, jeering them. Some people were trying to argue with them. Admittedly, this is a lot closer to the time period when like internet atheists were a thing, so people would argue about religion just for the hell of it. And then this limo pulled up, and two girls cosplaying as knee socks and scanty from Panty and Stocking just emerged, and it was like beautiful as the protest, like, oh my god. Always remember that.
Speaking of chanting, I thought that was super weird with bad hentai. Someone who didn't really look like Abraham Lincoln, but the crowd went with it. So while all of us are watching the third bad hentai, and you just hear USA, USA. To me, I was just like, again, I was, what is going on? Again,
I just let myself be carried by the crowd. I'm like, you know what? Peer pressure. I might as well shout USA. I probably should have started shouting it louder into that guy's ear, like got really close.
yeah, yeah, that would have
He
been funny.
criticized me like, what do you hate America? How dare you?
Yeah. But yeah, overall, Fanime was great. I can't wait to do it again. It's like a love hate. Like I like doing it, but then I hate doing it because it's like I'm not really participating in I'm participating, but with like work. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for people who
Next time,
want to do
want to
stuff.
do more TikTok live interview. I think what I should have done is TikTok live interviews. I probably
Mm,
should set that up. Although there's a part of me that's nervous about that because, like, what if they say something that's like bannable or something? Like they take this opportunity, like, now let me give you my incredibly racist opinions. Like, sir, please don't. Jesus Christ. Well, how do I stop this now? I guess that's always
yeah.
the danger of any kind of live stream is that somebody's going to say, and you're like, well, that person's nuts. I don't know what to tell you. No, I
Mhm.
should have TikTok live with the protesters out there. Like, okay, now's your time to give your sermon to roughly 1,000 weebs who love Toho Project mainly. Let's go,
Yeah.
convert us all.
Yeah, I know Cruz went live. I don't know how long he went live for, but I saw today when I was going through my personal TikTok that his thing came up, and it's like I don't want to watch that. I was there.
Yeah. Oh, it shows
Um,
up for other people. I don't even know how TikTok works, man. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
think it's because you follow him, and because he has access to both of the Nakama accounts, he follows his
Okay.
other things, so they pops up for me. So I'm always like, no, I don't want to see it. At least not
I
on
did
my
not know
personal
that.
one.
See, this is the part of me that's like a boomer. I actually don't understand like some of the technology now. I do miss MySpace. That was a golden era.
Yeah, so for any social media, like if you follow someone or you add someone, it will mention it to other people, being like, "Hey, this person also follows Houston, or this Houston interacts with this person." Any more thoughts about Fanime, or do you just want to wrap this up?
I'm excited to do it again. I'll have a little bit more money next time. Knock on, actually, I should knock on one of that one before I jinx that. One thing I will notice, because I did peruse the dealer's hall and I socialized with some, I mean, I guess that's why I have more fun is that I break from you guys and then I go off and do whatever and I end up randomly socializing with random people, which is probably why you guys like making me do interviews is because I will just go up to any person.
Well,
Although I need
that's
to be
why
more
I like
discerning, unlike that
you
one time
doing it.
I grabbed that guy in the furry hat
Oh,
that turned out to be like 90,000 years old. I got to be more discerning next time I do this, but I do enjoy it and it's really awesome. So, I can't wait to go again. Although I kind of want to do other conventions than just Fanime, but Fanime is the only one that I know of that's like close ish. That's like within an hour or so driving distance. Like I know Sac Anime, but that's a I'm gonna stay at least 2 days, and that's like a
mhm.
multi-hour drive, which frick, I've never loved driving in the Central Valley.
I know that that's an issue. Goddamn, hold on. I know that's an issue that Brittany doesn't like doing is she doesn't like driving far, but I don't mind driving. But I think yeah, the next one for sure we're doing is GalaxyCon. I don't know if Brittany's gonna go to that one or not,
Yeah.
but one of the goals for me is to go to KomoriCon, and that
Where's
one
that?
in Portland, Oregon. So that one is one that I'm gonna be dragging Brittany with because it's like you don't need to go to the convention if you want. You could just do your own thing while we're here.
When
But
is it?
I think it's in August or October. So that's one that I want to go to. That's one of the goals is to go to that one. I don't know about any other ones. Like I know Cruz went to the one in New York. I don't really care for New York too much. I've never been, but to get on a plane and then dealing with the big New York rats kind of doesn't sound like fun to me. So that's not one that we got invited to go. I'll go, but yeah, the next big one. The goal is to go to KomoriCon in Portland, Oregon, and I'll probably make it a week there. That way, me and Brittany can do stuff either before or after the convention, just to hang out. Brittany likes the Oregon area, Seattle, Washington area.
I'd love to live in that area. Like maybe not Portland, because every friend I ever had that went to Portland ended up crazy. Like something went wrong with them and they just became nuts. Portland's a weird town, to be honest, just because I associate it with where all my hipster friends that really tried to chase the music dream went because they couldn't afford to go to like Williamsburg and they weren't techie enough for San Francisco. So Portland was kind of like the gathering place for anybody who had like hipster, artsy, creative, usually punk, alt, some kind of music. Usually it was music aspirations, and they went to Portland because it was a hip scene, but it wasn't as expensive as trying to move to Williamsburg. You know, if you're going to New York, you must have family wealth or something, because you can't just be an unemployed musician there. In Portland, for a time in the 2000s, mainly 2005 to, I want to say, 2012, 13, you could be a barely employed musician in Portland and be relatively fine. Although, you know, once you hit your 30s, it's that life starts to get really freaking tiring.
Yeah.
But I have friends who went to Portland. They're still there. I don't know how the Portland dream worked out for them. Haven't heard from them in a while. Some of them went and came back and are trying to go back because they became adapted. They became Portland people, and Portland people are different than regular people in a way.
Yeah. But GalaxyCon for sure.
GalaxyCon, yeah. I'll go. That's August? September?
Yeah, August.
Okay. Text me the date. I'll just set any time. I mean, I assume I'm just going to go the weekend, but I might be willing to set a day aside just because it's always good to have a 3-day weekend. Always good to have one of those.
True. That's true. But yeah, that's it for the episode. So next week, me and Peralta will be talking about some anime.
Just some anime. We don't know what, just.
Yeah, I don't know what yet. I haven't picked it yet. Yeah, I haven't picked it yet.
Eureka 7. It's so weird that Eureka 7 came up like twice in both panels. I haven't thought about Eureka 7 since 2013, I want to say.
But yeah, that's it. Skedaddle.
Yeah. See ya, good people. Have fun, stay in school. Parties are actually not as cool as they sound, as it turns out. They're kind of annoying.
100%. That's it.
See ya.
Bye.